Hey, we're back. And
Hi, remember me?
look over there. It's Melody. She's back.
Hi, Melody.
Hi.
And right here is my
Yeah.
granddaughter Georgia, who has joined us today to give us an entertainment report that she wrote herself, her little 8-year-old self.
All by myself.
She wrote it all by herself on her favorite movie of all time,
The Barbie movie.
the Barbie movie.
Yeah, I
Melody?
like the Barbie movie too. So, well, how shall we start this off? My
So
brother,
far,
we're going to discuss the WGA and their
yep. Well, I'll
stupidity.
tell you, I can go into that first if you like.
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah.
After 148 days walking the picket lines, the WGA came to a tentative agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The writers have been given permission to return to work. They won gains in compensation, money, a new requirement for a minimum staff level, so they have to hire more people, which is good. Payment for screenwriters, and limitations on the use of AI in the writing process, which I am
Thank God.
entirely in favor of. Because I don't want my television shows written by some stinking computer. No.
Exactly.
It turns out that the writers walking the picket lines weren't going hungry, thanks to Price is Right host Drew Carey.
Yay, Drew!
He reportedly covered tabs totaling $500,000 at Bob's Big Boy and Burbank. What the hell could you buy for $500,000 at Bob's Big Boy? Okay.
Have you seen the price of a hamburger lately?
Yeah, I guess anywhere nowadays. And also some place called Swingers Diner that I'm not familiar with, but apparently it's somewhere around the studios. Now that the WGA is back to work, the SAG-AFTRA and the Hollywood studios are going back to the bargaining table. Many of the same issues that existed in the WGA strike also exist in the SAG-AFTRA strike. So they're hoping that they can use their agreement as a template to start working out a settlement in that strike, which has also been going for way too long.
Yes.
So
and
that's my entertainment news. Yeah, I got on all the entertainment websites, and all I had on there is how showing us how Kim Kardashian blows her nose, and how some star's baby looked at somebody wrong and they got offended, and just, I'm sorry, that's not entertainment news.
Well, to quote my old friend Harry, the problem started with the woman who was the mother of all of the children, because she trusted a Kardashian. So that's only a joke old Trek people will understand. But anyway, we also have a couple of notable passings in the news. Probably the principal one being David McCallum, who was working up until he passed, which is really saying something.
He was still on NCIS, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was under contract, bless his heart. So he was he turned 90 years old on September 25th, and apparently thought, oh, that's enough. Let's join the ancestors. But he was married for almost 50 years and had 5 children and had many grandchildren. And he had, yes, 5 children, Paul, Valentine, Jason, Sophie, and Peter. And he was originally from Glasgow, Scotland, and not surprisingly being named McCallum. And his parents had been musicians, and he started out to be a professional oboe player. But the Neil Eukaryotic called, and it's all the same from there. And bless his heart, he was 90 years of age when he went on to the other side. And also leaving us this week was actor Michael Gambon. I think that was it. Who played Dumbledore. He was the second or third?
The second Dumbledore.
The second Dumbledore.
I think Richard Harris played the first Dumbledore.
Yeah. Richard Harris was first.
And he passed away. He passed away during the filming, I think, of the third one, and they had to find somebody that kind of looked like him.
And
so they were able to make this guy up to look like the original. And to go back to David McCallum, what a lot of people now don't know is that he was a teeny bopper sex symbol.
Oh, totally.
When he was on The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
And on Sapphire and Steel later on.
And he also did a role where he was in heavy makeup on The Outer Limits, where he played an alien with this big head and pointed ears. Who does that sound like? Now, he didn't look anything like Spock, though. He looked much different than Spock.
But he said that he had been... He was still recognized on the street for Ilya Karyakin, but mainly children would walk up and go, yucky!
Well, do you remember the episode of NCIS where somebody asked him something and Mark Harmon turns to them and they said, who does he look like? And he says,
who did he look like?
Ilya Kuryakin.
Yeah.
which was what do they call it, Easter egg?
Yeah, it's a week at the audience. But anyway, he was also very nice. I think that's an important thing too. He was always very kind and open to his fans, and come up to him. And I'd always heard stories about him. So I know a little 7-year-old who is the granddaughter of a friend of a friend, walked up to him and said, yucky! And he turned around and he says, yes! Her mother was just mortified. So, no, don't bother him. And he said, oh no, at my age, I'm always happy to be recognized.
Well, I believe that before we lose the interest of our fellow cast member here, which at 8 years old, it goes away really quick. Georgia here is a very big fan of Barbie, the Barbie franchise and the dolls. She dropped her script, so she is picking her script up. And just to tell you, 8-year-old Georgia wrote this script entirely by herself with no help as to the phrasing or anything else. So she is now going to tell us about what she thought of the Barbie movie.
Here is our
And
reviewer, Georgie Negretti.
there you go.
Okay.
Carrie, get it carried away here.
My favorite movie is the Barbie movie. The Barbie movie songs are I'm Sad by Billie Eilish, Pink by Lizzo. The Barbie movie is a great movie. In my opinion, the Barbie movie is so amazing. I have so many Barbies at home. I absolutely adore Barbies. I have a Princess Belle Barbie.
There she is.
It was my most recent
Acquisition.
Barbie. That is everything that I have to say. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you very much, Georgia. That was excellent. I also saw the Barbie movie and enjoyed it. And I was not expecting to. Although
the same with me.
Yeah.
The
It
beginning.
was very different than I thought it was going to be. And I also
beginning was
enjoyed
very
Ryan
clever.
Gosling's portrayal, which is unusual.
Well,
And
I would have never thought the Barbie movie would play tribute to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
yes, to say nothing of actually bringing up numerous Mattel stories.
Well, you know, they kind of bashed Mattel,
Yes.
and the fact that Mattel sponsored the movie.
Yes.
I mean, that's hey, all
Good
right,
for
Mattel.
them.
You're
Well,
recognizing your weaknesses.
What I also enjoyed about the film is that it obviously it was very inclusive. It had a lot of different people who were Barbies and Kens. And the other thing, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but the originator of Barbie, the designer, Ruth, was named Ruth, and she named Barbie after her daughter, Barbara. Now, do those names ring a bell to you at all?
Yes, of course.
And at the end of the movie, they had Barbie's dog, her first dog, was named Tanner. So for about 5 seconds, the names Barbie Tanner were on the screen.
Well, you notice at the very end, after everything, they showed the real
I'm gonna go get my real life Barbie.
Ruth Handler.
Yes.
They showed a little video of the real Ruth Handler.
The real Ruth Handler, not Rhea Perlman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought she did a good job portraying her.
Well, Rhea Perlman's a great actor. So I thought the whole film was just really well done and funny, insightful in ways I was not expecting.
We have a special guest here.
Oh, we do. It's the life-size Barbie.
Yep. That's Georgia's favorite. She likes to give her piggybacks around the house.
Oh, yeah.
And Georgia has a Barbie's dream house.
Yes.
That Santa brought her last year.
I once had Barbie's dream house, but it was cardboard.
Well, when you got the Barbie's dream house, it was like $29.
Yeah.
Georgia's Barbie dream house cost significantly more than that.
$250. Yeah, $250.
Yeah.
And took Santa a long time to find.
Yes. That's Barbie's nightmare house now. At least for Grandpa.
Did you hear what they're bringing back?
What?
The Furby.
Furbies.
I'm not buying you a Furby.
Why?
And neither is Santa.
Why?
Because I bought your mother a Furby, and it was nothing but a nightmare. I had to babysit the stupid thing and feed it so it wouldn't die. Remember that?
Yes.
I had to babysit a watch, basically.
Yes.
The electronics were about...
And then it would go off by itself in the middle of the night.
Right, it would start crying.
Yes. Yeah, Ben had one too.
Buy me a Furby.
No,
Buy me a Furby.
Not buying a Furby. If you get one, it won't come from Grandpa. I'll buy you lots of other toys, but no Furbies, please.
No.
Can you buy me another life-size Barbie?
We'll see. What do you
Well,
need
well,
another
well,
one?
She wants a friend.
If they have a different one, I'm not going to buy you a duplicate of the one you already have.
There's a black one.
Boy, our viewership is really on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Have you
I
been,
know
can you
that.
see it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, I can. Yeah. It's gone back up. I think, in fact, they're having trouble with the streaming server over on StreamYard. They were having trouble with it yesterday.
Yeah, because we went 10, 2, 7, 3,
Yeah.
8. Like, what the
People
heck is
keep
going on?
being bounced off and they have to get back on.
Yeah.
Anyway, the star, listen to me. The science fiction news I have for this week. There's still no firm absolute on the Orville. They seem pretty solid about it, though. I think they may be holding back in order to announce some big.
No, what's the guy that does that? toy
Seth
guy.
MacFarlane.
Yeah, the toy
Yeah,
Spawn.
I painted her nails.
But hey, he
They're green.
said that if the studio wouldn't fund it, he would fund it personally.
Yeah. I can't imagine they could have the same level of technical prowess, but they certainly will be. It's better to have some horrible if and not.
Well, they could leave it on at the same studio as long as he becomes the advertiser that pays for it. They'll do it. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean they will. It's the studio that they're working out of is one of those that they work for anybody. So it's one of the many trends in Hollywood is that all of these places that will work for YouTube influencers or whomever.
Have you ever seen The Orville, Georgia?
What's that?
Huh?
What's
a TV
that?
show. She's never seen The Orville.
Oh well.
Georgia has her shows that she watches, and that's it. She doesn't watch much regular TV. She watches one called Sam and Cat, which is a kid show on Netflix.
Oh, on Netflix?
Yeah. It wasn't bad. I watched a little bit of it.
It's very funny.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Good. Yeah, I have my shows I watch, and I don't watch a lot of stuff beyond science fiction and fantasy, but I know the Oak Island is coming back in November. My year seems to be cut up between Skinwalker Ranch and Oak Island.
Well, I tell you, as far as what I've seen that I can recommend is A Million Miles Away. That's an excellent show. It's about the first Mexican astronaut and his story of coming up. They play a lot of great Mexican music on it. You know, a lot of good music.
Yeah.
So it's
Her dress. It's like
well, Georgia, that's involves the green screen. The green screen sometimes doesn't like certain colors.
Like green.
Well, that one's gold, but for some reason it doesn't like gold.
it's yellow.
It's
Green?
the light on it. So, I'm sorry. But anyway, as I was saying, that it's a good film. I would recommend watching it. Georgia, I'm trying to talk.
I know.
That's not gonna happen. Sorry. Having to scold the granddaughter.
No.
Here,
Please.
we'll put Barbie somewhere else or sit her down there next to you. And anyway,
Disobey Barbie.
I've tried to watch some other shows. I watched Gen V.
Okay.
Looks like it was shot by high school kids.
Isn't everything?
Huh?
Isn't everything?
Yeah, it looks like it was shot by high school kids with their cell phones. So
That's the new era of entertainment. I mean, we're on one big YouTube. And
Gen B is very lacking in plot. And a lot of the movies nowadays, they overwhelm you with special effects.
yes.
You know, you don't need nonstop eye bashing special effects on everything.
Exactly.
It's not needed. You ruin a lot of films that might have been okay if you had just put in a little bit of special. It was better when special effects were expensive
Yes.
because they didn't overwhelm the movie with special effects. Now they're much cheaper to produce. The average person could do it at home on their computer, and that's ruining a lot of films.
There are many who have observed that probably the best rendered film of not this season but last Oscar season was the one that won. And that's Everything Everywhere All at Once.
You know, I still haven't seen that.
Oh, you have to. It's wonderful. And all of the special effects were done by the director and basically the creative staff. Watching YouTube.
I will. Georgia wishes to go off and find something else to do that's more interesting. So
I guess we're boring.
Stand up and say goodbye to everybody.
Very good to see you, sweetie.
Say goodbye to everybody.
Hold on.
Love you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Georgia. Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
Just go.
Bye-bye.
We're not going to turn it off. You just walk away.
I think she handled that well.
Close the door, please. Thank you, Georgia.
Bless her heart.
Well, I knew that was going to happen. She actually lasted longer than I expected. Children don't like to sit and children don't like to sit and talk to the microphone for hours on end.
Kenny would probably have lasted about 30 seconds.
Well, Kenny's what, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
George is 8. You'll find he's a little better when he gets to be 8.
when he starts getting up there, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Connor would have lasted 10 seconds.
Well, the his mind is very sharp. He's always thinking. So.
I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
Going to the Paw Patrol,
Yeah.
I did witness Kim Kardashian's most involved role of her career.
Her
About a
great.
30-second spot playing a poodle.
Oh, there you go. It was her Olivier moment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I wish she would do Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the sequel, because I loved Paris Hilton's role in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Do you remember that? Did you ever see it?
No.
Paris Hilton got a spear through the head.
Oh, there
And
you go.
almost the entire audience stood and applauded.
Yeah, as long as they understand their role in the world. That's why William Shatner has been so successful in his later years. He understood who he was, a public eye. Well, until recently, when he started changing his mind about things.
Well, when you get to be that age, I cut him a little slack.
Yeah, definitely. That brings me to an interesting point that I was going to save this for a Disney section, but I guess there's not a lot of Disney news. It occurred to me this week, that the oldest living member of the original cast of the original Mary Poppins is not Dick Van Dyke. There's somebody older. The actress Glynis Johns, who played the mother of the children in Mary Poppins, just turned 100 years old. So when you consider that there was only about 6 people in the core cast, that's not bad. We
No,
got 2 of them still alive.
One of the kids
Three
is
of them.
dead, isn't there?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
One of the children passed, but the other one is still alive. And that's sadly that child actors syndrome. I, having known a couple of child actors, I know that they have horrible things that happen. And the daughter in the film is now 67 and
Hey,
does fairly well. And she
same
says,
age as somebody else I know.
yeah. And the actor who played the young boy, who was just wonderful, passed away when he was 21. And
Yeah, I knew one of them died real young.
Yeah.
Was it something unfortunate or just?
Yeah. They didn't really come out and say, they never did back then. Disney especially would have a lot of discretion about revealing that. It sounds like it was either drugs or suicide.
That's sad.
It's just a horrible thing. And such a talented young actor too. He was really quite good.
Having had a suicide in Beverly's family, I know how terrible that is for the whole family. Not just the person that does it, but his whole family.
Yeah.
So this incident was many, many, many years ago, and his mother is still not the same.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, it occurs to me that that's one of the chief means of passing for child actors. If you look at how many of them died by suicide, it's frightening. And Jonathan Francis, who was a child actor who was on the other submarine science fiction show.
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea?
No, not Voyage. It was Sequest.
Oh yeah, Sequest. Yeah. The one played the young boy on Sequest. Yeah. Well, to change the subject to a more pleasant subject.
Yes, by
what can we talk about?
Almost anything. Yeah. I know that if we've got two members of the oldest of the cast of Mary Poppins still alive and kicking, we're doing okay.
And, I mean, some of these shows seem to have a curse.
Yeah.
Like the worst one I think is Babylon 5.
It's among the worst.
Yeah, like 9 of the original cast members, and it wasn't that big a cast, are gone. So that's not good.
You know, we used to say the Dark Shadows had a cloud over it, but in point of fact, there's about half the cast that's still with us. So
well, and that's an old show. The thing with Babylon 5 is it was in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about some ancient show. We're
really think that there was some kind of something in the drugs or in the substances being used or something during that period where a lot of people were taken out.
Well, they lost Richard Biggs real young to an intestinal ailment. Mira Furlan died of, what was it?
It's some ridiculous.
No, she got a mosquito bite and died of that East Nile virus.
Yeah.
Now, who do you know that died of the East Nile virus?
No one. That's the thing.
She was about the same age as Bruce Boxleitner.
Right.
And Boxleitner's still, in fact, he's still involved in some show now.
Oh yeah. Well, he's not that old.
He was in the last Tron.
Yeah, he was in something else that was announced the other day during pre-production. So he's still working. That was the thing about the pardon me. The actors over 90. I saw this list of actors over 90. They did not include Glynis Jones, by the way. But they ranged in age from 90 to 100. And it was amazing how many of them were still working. Yeah, they still had stuff in pre-production, including Bob Newhart. So
I thought Bob Newhart died.
Nope.
No?
Still alive and well.
He wasn't looking too good last time I saw him, but
well, his wife passed away, and they had been married forever. As you know too well, that's a big kick to the system.
Now, in Hollywood, there's certain roles that have to be filled. And as time goes on and the actors playing those roles get too old to play them, they have to find somebody else to play them.
Yeah,
So,
demo.
so for many years, you had the good guy who's almost a bad guy, weapons,
Anti-hero.
and Schwarzenegger. You had the Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, and then they got too old, even though Stallone doesn't think so because he's still making Expendables movies.
He's still too old. Yeah.
When these people get too old to make these movies, they bring out The Rock and whoever, Vin Diesel, and other people to play. I mean, Vin Diesel and The Rock are interchangeable.
Yeah.
You could do a movie and you deal with Vin Diesel and he starts saying, "Oh, well, I want more money." He said, "Well, look, we'll just go get The Rock."
And it's really interesting in that they are two different races. But they are, in fact, interchangeable.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If the Rock won't do the movie, we'll hire Vin Diesel.
We'll hire Vin Diesel.
and it was the way when they used to make the movies back when Schwarzenegger. If you didn't have the budget for Schwarzenegger or Stallone, you got, what was that guy that did I Come in Peace and You Go in Pieces? Dolph Lundgren.
Yes.
Yes. If you didn't have Stallone and you couldn't afford Schwarzenegger, you got Dolph Lundgren.
Well, that's how, rest his soul, Rutger Hauer created his.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer, same thing.
Okay. Let me say, because I got corrected last time. Mark just goes ahead and says the name the way that other people do. Rutger Hauer pronounced his name Rutger. It's Germanic, I believe, for Richard or Roger. So it's Rutger Hauer. It's not Rutger, but I think, like Mark, most people just give up and say Rutger.
He was called on the media as Rutger Hauer.
I know, so, they just gave up.
I don't know him, so he never told me that wasn't his name. I don't research people's names to make sure I pronounce them correctly. I pronounce them the way they pronounce them on the media. If Mr. Hauer gets offended by me calling his name wrong, he's welcome. Oh, all right. Well, his family then. See, I didn't even know he was dead. His family can come and tell me, and I'll apologize on the podcast. But any of the rest of you?
Yeah, I got a comment from someone the other day. You know, if you were his fan, you would know his name is Rutger.
I'm not doing it to offend anybody. I just pronounced it the way it was pronounced.
I was just using it as humor. But
now, I may actually have met the guy because we had 2 or 3 of them at one of the StarCons that were. Who was in Phantasm?
Oh heavens, I don't know.
Do you remember Phantasm?
Yes.
Yeah. The one with that ball that had a spike out of it.
Yeah. They all started blending together after a while, all those action heroes.
Well, I met that guy, and I met the one that was in the I Come in Peace and You Go in Pieces movie.
Dolph Lundgren.
Who?
Dolph Lundgren.
Okay. And I met him. He was a very nice fella.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them that I try to pronounce correctly because I actually know the person. Carol Strucken.
Yeah.
I don't. When I say I know somebody, I have met them, and I've met them several times, and I'm pretty sure if I walked up to him, he would
Know
recognize
who
me.
you were.
I consider that knowing the person. We're
It
not
is.
best buddies. We don't go out to lunch together. So because a lot of people have complained when I say I know somebody. Oh, well, you're not friends. Well, no, I'm not friends
He
with
didn't
them.
say you was.
Right.
Well,
I
yeah,
just
that's
am acquainted with them. Like Walter Koenig.
yeah.
I've met Walter Koenig probably 10 or 12 times. It's all been at some event. Either he was there as a actor at the event, or he was at a toy show because he's a toy collector, and I used to sell antique toys. So that's where I met Jonathan Winters.
Yeah.
And I think I would push beyond just knowing Jonathan Winters. I think we were almost friends because he knew my first name. He would come up to my table and call me by name. So,
Yeah.
and
And
he
he
was
did that
friendly.
with your whole family.
Yeah, he was friendly. And my wife and him got along great. They used to sit and chat. But
Well, Beverly
he's probably the only one. And poor old Jonathan, he was a little left to center field. He was, if he came to the show and he was wearing a name tag, he wanted you to call him by the name that was on the name tag. And a lot of times he would wear like a uniform, a police uniform, or he'd have, because he used to play characters whenever he would be on something. Maud Frickert was one of the characters. And he used to play these characters. Well, if he was portraying that character, he expected you to treat him, talk to him, and call him by the name of that character. If you came up and called him Jonathan, he would correct you.
Yeah.
So,
well,
he
can do whatever he wants as long as he's nice to kids. That's the way
I never saw him mistreat anybody, yell at anybody, or anything like that. He used to come to the Glendale All-American Toy Show, and he would go into the area where the snack bar was, and they had a microphone for PA announcements, and he'd get a hold of that microphone and start putting on a show. And he'd stand there for half an hour telling jokes. And
those are the people that we should all support and look forward to. When you get someone like James Corden or Will Ferrell, who can't be bothered to talk to their fans, that's sad.
Well, we had at the All-American Collector Show, we had, what's his name? Malcolm McDowell. I didn't like the man when he was younger. I don't know. He may have mellowed. A lot of people mellow when they get older, but he didn't. He couldn't spend 2 seconds talking to anybody. And he would come to the show, and it was unpleasantness. Same thing with, Michael Jackson. I don't blame him so much because he was such a big star at the time he came to the shows. He loved old toys, and he would have an entourage around him. And when you've got something like that, it disrupts everywhere they go. It disrupts everything.
Yeah.
And then he never asked anybody to leave, though. He just, people had to get out of his way for his entourage and his bodyguards. Now, the exact opposite of that was Roseanne Barr. When Roseanne Barr came to the show, she ordered it shut down. And all of the guests, oops, sorry about that. All the guests had to leave and stand outside while she went through the show.
Oh yeah, she wouldn't be doing it if you were there with me.
Well,
You just
you
have
would
to
have
put up with me in the room.
you would have gotten some serious flack. I'm just telling you.
Good.
And like Walter Koenig was great coming through there. And a lot of people that you don't even consider stars, like Brian Pinchot's brother.
Yeah.
Most people don't even know who Brian Pinchot is anymore. And his brother looked just like him, but he was a foot shorter. Real weird. I don't know how that
Always the
happened.
way.
I do not know how that. And he had the table next to me for like 5 years of the Glendale show, so I got to, chat with him. He got my daughter an autograph picture of Brian Pinchot when he was on. What was it? Perfect Strangers, or
Perfect.
yeah.
Branson Pinchot.
It was one of those situation comedy things, and then he was one of the stars of the original, not the new one, the original The Stand.
Yeah, that had a lot of actors in it, and a lot of good people too. Gary Sinise being one of them. I just heard another really nice story about him the other day. He once again went into a disabled veteran and redid his house and made it usable. So
Brian Pinchot?
No. I said Gary Sinise was also.
Oh, Gary Sinise. Oh, yeah.
So
he would have a lot more money than Brian Pinchot.
Oh, yeah. Branson Pinchot, I would imagine at this point is. I think he probably does all right.
Well, like most of them, when they get to that point, they start doing Broadway.
Yeah, stage, local theater, appearances and stuff, that sort of thing.
Well, I never met him, so I don't know whether he was a nice guy or not. His brother was a nice guy.
Yeah. Well,
that's all I can tell you.
The wonders of the internet sort of sent out the news about who's not a nice person, and some of the people who weren't very nice have learned their lesson.
It's amazing how they have been able to scrub the internet.
Yeah.
And remove things they don't want you to know about.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, having been on the internet since it started, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can't find anymore.
I try to find Deja News. I mean, the old Usenet news groups. Certainly they're 80% gone.
And I just want to point something out. I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to podcast. Because the British have enacted the Internet Safety Act. And you will have to present your content to them, and they will decide if you're worthy of going on the air.
Well, then they will have to block anything coming from the U.S.
Yeah, I don't know how they're planning on doing it, but if the British are doing it, it's a matter of time until somebody tries to do it here. So if you guys like podcasting, make sure you let all of your lawmakers know that you don't want anything like that here.
Yeah. That's not gonna happen. But and the thing of it is that there have been many attempts to go back to the 1960s, where Great Britain is concerned, and everyone has been struck down. And especially if they want to return to the European Union, they're going to have to watch their P's and Q's. The you can't do that kind of restricted content thing with, they're trying to do what Alabama and Georgia are trying to do. But all that's going to do for Alabama and Georgia and the parts of the UK involved is limit their people. It's not going to do anything to the country at large. So the Scots will still be over there blasting the stuff out of it.
Well, I know they have, I don't want to say who, but certain people who are very heavily involved in podcasting and the internet at large have started an independent, multi-based system of RSS feeds that would prevent any government entity from regulating them because they're based in too many places.
Right.
So their content will go out. It really doesn't matter what you try to do, their content will go out. I think Melody knows who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And the Podfather himself.
Yes.
And, they've got the money. They've got several 100,000 listeners to their podcast. So they've got the money to do this and have done it. They've reinvested their money back in the system. And it'll be good for all of us. Despite what you think of any one person's, they're not limiting any content. It's, whatever content you have is fine. So it's a good place just in case this Facebook thing, and I'll tell you, Facebook is starting to suffer.
Yeah, of course it is. It's falling apart.
Yeah, it's starting to go south. So I think the day may come when you will have to watch us on YouTube or, 20 years ago, there was no Facebook. There was no Google. There was no YouTube. There was no YouTube. So if you think these things are going to last forever, think again.
They're going to morph into different. And there was an attempt by certain corporate entities. And anybody who follows the same people I read, the former intelligence officers who are battling for our free system and democracy. There's a gaggle of people who were trying to force people in who had been compromised in office. And if you look at people in office, you'll notice the entities who were enforcing themselves on them. But there are protective measures being taken, and that's why you see things like you'll look at these, and all of a sudden, poof, they'll be gone. And you wonder, whoo, boy, we all dodged a bullet. Well, we didn't dodge a bullet. Somebody was taking them out. So, and I don't literally.
Well, let me just say this. You all know which direction I lean politically. But you never want one side or the other having absolute ultimate control, because if you do, bad things are going to happen. And that's what's happening right now. We have one side with way too much say-so over the media, over television, over politics. You need to have somebody over here where you can hear them saying, hey, that's not a good idea, you shouldn't do that. It's really good. to
That's
have.
why I say national security is there, and
Good.
it.
You need to have opposing views
Yes.
out there. If you don't, bad things are going to happen. That's what
why you're
happened in
seeing.
it. That's what happened in Germany.
Yeah.
Is you got one group with ultimate power, and if you have that, you're in trouble.
Well, we have to understand that the people who are doing good things and interacting with the other party and opening the lines of discussion, these people are the ones who are protected. The people who are like, what's her name? Anyway, anybody too far to the left or too far to the right, they're trying to rip it apart. They have control of that side of the discourse. And we need all parties together talking and coming to a central point of agreement, as has happened with the. I mean, that's what's happening when you see them finally coming to an agreement on a budget. Is the people who are actually part of national security are in there compromising and moving people together. And some people that you think are way to the left or way to the right will still move toward the middle when they need to. And those are the pieces of national security.
Well,
And
we have just recently, actually yesterday, I think, lost the person who I feel was dragging California into the pit. And I'm sorry she passed away. I am. I feel sorry for anybody who passes away because she has kids and grandkids. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I think it's good that she's no longer going to be involved in California politics because I don't think she was doing good things for California politics. And that, of course, is Dianne Feinstein, who we lost yesterday at 90. It's funny how all these people seem to be dying at exactly 90.
Well, then again, you have the ones who are living to 98, 99, 100.
Oh, well, I hope I can say, oh, or somebody else could say, oh, Mark, you just made it to 90. I'll be perfectly happy.
Hey, I'm there too. Well, as my dear therapist tells me all the time, the oldest lived American was 120. And since the next generation always lives a little longer, she's arming herself financially and physically and all other ways for 125.
Well, there's a dispute as to whether he was actually 120.
No, this was a woman.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that was the cowboy guy that was supposed to be 100.
No.
Now, there's a Russian that they insist was 132.
Yeah. I have no.
But they haven't been able to come up with concrete proof that they were 122. Okay, we have to go. It's been a great show. I've enjoyed having my granddaughter here with us, Georgia, and my sister, Melanie, of course. And hey, you get to be my age, I can't remember my name.
Tell me about it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back with more entertainment information, especially good quality stuff. This week it wasn't anything because it was all about the WGA.
I mean, the biggest thing was the Kim Kardashian role in Paw Patrol. And Chris Rock had 6 words.
Oh,
He played the cat. Have you seen the commercial where the cat gets a crystal on its neck and it talks?
yes.
And then somebody rips it off and it goes meow? That
Yes,
was Chris Rock.
That was Chris Rock. Well, good for him. At least he's working.
Okay,
So-
I'll play us out.
Take
So-
it easy. Talk to you
Wave
next
goodbye.
week.
Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.
Next week.